Hello, hello, we are live. Welcome to today's knife cutting session. Um, Welcome, everyone. We are going to be live on Facebook and YouTube. And tonight I'm going to present some basic knife cutting skills so that everyone, you who is cooking, who's handling the recipes, um, that you have an idea how to handle a knife and you can actually do your batch cooking a lot faster. So that's what this session is all about. Welcome, everyone. If you don't mind just introducing yourself so I know you're there. Always nice talking to an audience. Wonderful. Hi, Adriana. Wow, long time no see, Adriana. Welcome. Hi, Joan. Okay. Hi, Marjorie. Okay, good. We just wait a seconds until everyone comes in, and then we're going to start. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Linda. Hi, Molly. Everyone who's joining me from YouTube, if you don't mind, if you like the session, click the thumbs up. If you like, that would be great. It will help me grow my channel. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. All those things help me grow my channel. Thank you so much. Hi, Erika. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Connie. Great. Excellent. Okay, so tonight we're going to discuss knife cutting skills, and I'm going to go over some basic cuts, and I'm going to go over safety. I'm going to go over cutting boards, and everything you need to know about cutting skills. Okay, because first, obviously, safety is always first, but the faster you can prep, the faster you can do your batch cooking, um, the faster you're out of the kitchen. So that's one advantage. For instance, when we cook in the restaurant, we may have 2 or 3 hours time to prep for the evening, and let's say we are going to give out between just let's say a number between 300 and 500 dinners. That's a lot of food, and that all needs to be prepared in a few hours. So you can now imagine if you cook for your family of four and you take 2 hours, what it takes to cook for 400 people. And so we have to be really lightning fast, and safety is very, very important. It's the highest priority of all of that. Um, okay, welcome everyone to tonight's knife cutting class. First, I'd like to talk about safety. Um, knives, knife. First of all, a disclaimer. I'm not responsible for anyone cutting themselves. It took me a very, very long time to master those knife skills. So please be very, very careful. This is no joke. Um, Safety is very, very, very important. And one of the importance is that you have to have sharp knives. If you have a dull knife, you actually cut yourself much faster than with a sharp knife. If you know what you're doing. If you're a beginner, you most likely cut yourself just because of, focus and, those little things. Okay, when it comes to knives, you want to make sure you always store them away. If you have a kitchen knife, a professional knife like this, you want to make sure that you put it away. If you put it in a drawer where everyone can reach their hand in, this is a hazard. You do not want to do that because they're so razor sharp that you would literally cut half your finger off if you touch it. So what you want to make sure is you have a something like this. I have a very old cutting block. You put your knives in there and they're stored away, and that way you don't have to worry about anyone um, putting their hand into it. So you don't want to put it in a drawer like this here. You probably cannot see the drawer, no. Where everyone, especially kids, can get to it. So those knives need to be away from kids. Very, very important. Next one, your cutting board. There are different kind of cutting boards. There are wood or plastic cutting boards, composite boards, they call them too. There's a fundamental difference between the two of them. I personally, I love wood cutting boards, but most wood cutting boards, if you cannot scrub them off with a wire brush, then they're not allowed in restaurants. So you need to be able to grind them off, so to speak, like a meat grinder, like a meat butcher block. There are also wood cutting boards for carving. So these are occasional. They are used for occasional situations where you carve a turkey. I know we don't do that, but restaurants do. So, and these are very nice for presentations. You can cut on them, have a beautiful presentation on it. It's just great. The problem is with wood boards is once you cut into them, you actually make a literal cut in there. When you do that, you wash the board, and guess what happened after that? The cut is actually closing again. So if you had any, let's say, that's especially important if you cut animal foods, which we do not do, thankfully. Those blood drops in there would stay in there, and then of course they're going to ferment, so to speak, and become really dangerous the next time you cut on it. So that's why those wooden boards are not allowed in a restaurant anymore, at least here in New York. So I use those composite boards. Just you can actually see some of the cuts here. You probably cannot see that. No, you cannot see it, but I can see them. And they're open. They don't close anymore because plastic doesn't close. Plastic stays the way it is, and they're safe. You can bleach them. You can put them in boiling water. Nothing is going to happen with them. You actually clean them this way. We have a dishwasher in most restaurants where we sanitize them at 185 degrees. So from that point of view, they're very good, and they last quite a long time. When you put your cutting board down, you want to make sure you have a wet piece of cloth underneath. Okay, let me turn down my camera a little bit so you can see it. So you can also use a piece of paper towel, that's fine too. But you see this, it doesn't move. We'll demonstrate it later when I change my camera setting here. So that's safe. If you do not put a piece of cloth underneath, your board would be wobbling, and when you cut on it, you actually could cut yourself, which is dangerous. Okay. Good. So let's start with the type of knives I would suggest you need, or which are helpful. Okay, obviously we have our steel here where we hone our knives with. They're not really meant to be sharpen your knives. You really maintain the blade. Okay, you sharpen your knife with a knife sharpener like this one here. You can sharpen your knife. That's pretty good. Or you bring it to a professional knife sharpener. Then we have our serrated knives. That's perfect for bread. They never go out of style. I like to use them mainly for bread or for hard applications. Then we have our chef knives, which this is an 8-inch chef knife, which is that's Zwilling from Henkel's. I love this knife. It's very light, very, very sharp. Then I have a 6-inch knife. Both knives are actually hard. They're stiff. They're not flexible. So very often we have flexible knives, which we used to use to cut meat, but since we don't do that, I don't see a reason to have a flexible knife. Sometimes I need a small 4-inch knife to peel certain fruit like butternut. You can do this with this if you wanted to. Okay, then we have our paring knife. Looks a little awkward, but with this we can pare potatoes, and I'll demonstrate it later. Peelers. I love my peeler. 30 years old, from Germany. Never broke. $2.95 30 years ago. These ones, they probably cost $5 in a supermarket, and every 2 years you have to buy a new one. This is the unfortunate part. Okay, good. How to handle a knife. Let me change my camera, and then I would say, you know what? Let me show you how to handle a knife. You see this little edge here? You have to stay away from this. This is for your knife comes down, or if your knife accidentally comes down, it protects your fingers. So you can actually go away from your fingers, or you can go towards it. Okay, and you do it in an angle, very, just slightly, about this one. You go this way and this way. Okay, but you can also do, you can go away. Okay, you can do both. So that's how you hone a knife. You should. It's not about speed. It's just about keeping the edge the same way during your sharpening. Okay. Now I'm going to switch my camera, and then I'll show you some knife cuts. Okay, first, Stacy, can you see me properly? Stacy, I cannot hear you.
I'm sorry, I was muted. I didn't realize. Yes, we can see you.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, just let me know if I'm getting out of the camera here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so how to handle a knife? First of all, you see this 8-inch knife. When you buy a new knife, for instance, you want to make sure that the knife feels good in your hand, because your knife is basically an extension of your hand. So when you cut, it needs to feel very comfortable. You don't want, like, let me show you those. I want to show you a cheap knife. So this is a cheap knife here. It's a big one, but it's a cheap one. So if I put my finger here, you can tell it's not balanced. It falls down. Okay. If I do this here, it's completely balanced. You see that? This is how you can see that the knife is nicely balanced, and that's how it's supposed to be. So this feels very heavy. If you would cut all day long, your hand is going to get tired, and you don't want that. And it's really hard to handle this one. It's almost like a sword. So this one is very, very light. when you do this, you put your index finger here, wrap around, and like this. Okay, this is how you hold your knife. You want to go as close as possible to the blade, making sure that your fingers are hidden behind the edge here, so that you don't cut yourself. Okay, because you don't want your finger somewhere here. Okay, and then you cut. We always cut in a I call it in a whipping motion like this. Okay, this is how you cut. You don't cut this. You can, if we cut something very fast, we do that. That is true. But in most cases, you want to cut this way. Okay, this is the natural motion that you should be doing. Okay, let's start to cut some dices with, for instance, with an onions. Okay. Make sure that you can see me properly. We start with, let me sharpen my knife here. When I do that, I always wipe off my blade. You see, it gives some black residue. That's from the honey. I don't want this in my food. Okay, so now I'm going to cut through the onions 3/4 way, not all the way. Okay, so let me just explain to you how I cut. My fingers, the middle finger is my lead in cutting, so to speak. So the more I move my hand away, the bigger the cuts get. Okay, so with this hand only does the cutting. You see, only like this. So if I move my hand away, that's how my dice is going to be cut and the size. So I have to be in tune with both hands, so to speak. I always hold it against here. You don't have to do that if you're not comfortable. That's fine. But you would start very slowly, and you don't want to get over your knuckle. Okay? You stay here, just here. It's a learning experience, so you have to be very careful, especially when you cut onions or something. If you cut something big like the jicama here, that's tricky. But I will show you how to do this. It takes a lot of practice, but you will get there. So, in order to cut the onion in small dices, I'm going to give it another cut horizontal, just like this. Okay, 3/4 all the way through. You can see how I hold my hand. My thumb is holding the back of the vegetable or the onion. My middle finger is leading my knife. You see that? Okay, now I'm going to cut through. If I cut like this, I would cut on the same spot if I don't move my hand. You understand what I'm saying? So now I'm going to move my hand just a little bit. I'm going to move it again, just a little bit. And again, a little bit. It's almost like driving a car. You have to be careful of your finger. You have to be careful of how you hold your knife. And, okay, so that's something what takes a lot of practice. Okay, and you always have this whipping motion. Okay. Okay. And then you have a nice cut. Okay. So let me put them aside here. Okay, what else? Let me show you this on a mushroom. You know, we all, or most of us love mushrooms. Cut a little bit of the, the strand. And here again, you want to make sure that your vegetable is nicely solid on the surface. You don't want to cut something like this here, okay, what is wobbling. You cannot do that. You have to make sure your vegetable is stable, okay, and then you do the same again. Your middle finger is your lead, your index finger and your ring finger a little tucked away, and your thumb always behind, okay. Remember that your thumb is not here. I have seen many cooks who cut themselves in the thumb because the thumb wandered up to the front. Your thumb has nothing to lose there. So I'm gonna clean my knife. When we cut on a board, it is important that your cutting board is clean. That is also safety. Okay, so now we're going to cut again like this. Our middle finger is our lead. Okay, and I'm pulling away as I cut. Again, you see what I'm doing? I'm pulling away slowly like this. Okay, this way. Okay, and the last piece, you don't really have to go that crazy, but okay. So this is how you cut a vegetable. Okay, and when you good one day, you can cut it. You see how, you know, what speed plays a role in cut cooking. It's enormous, but of course safety is king. So you have to make sure that you practice a lot. Do we have any questions? No? Okay, cool.
No, we're good. Don't worry about that. Just keep going.
Did you remove it?
I did. Don't worry.
Okay.
Got it.
I cannot believe this.
Yep.
Okay, good. Good. So now I want to show you how to cut some bigger dices. We also call them brunoise in France. In French. Okay. Again, here you want to make sure that you have a solid surface. Oh, dirty hands now. Okay. So now I'm going to make a 1/4 inch dices. Okay, so I'm gonna cut my slices all the same way, and I put them on top of each other, maybe 2 or 3. And then again, I'm gonna cut them 1/4 inch. Okay. And then again, my middle finger is leading. You see how I pull away the lead finger? So, okay. So that's your quarter-inch dices. Very, very simple. It just needs a little practice. That's all it is to it. The same way you could do julienne, meaning stripes. Let's say you want to make an 8, really thin stripes. Okay, same again. You put them on top of each other. Okay, and you pull away your lead finger slowly. It's something you have to practice. It just takes time. Okay, so that's how you cut your julienne or your stripes. Okay, and you can do that with any kind of size, any kind of vegetable. There's no limit to this. Cucumbers, we all like cucumbers in salad. I want to make sure the cucumber is somehow stable, and then we're going to cut it in slices. Okay, so first one off. Okay. With a cucumber, it's a little tricky sometimes because they're all over the place. You can also, very often I cut it just like this, and I pull away my lead finger. Always make sure that your knife is clean. You see how I pull away? There's different kind of techniques you can do. This one is a little difficult because you cannot really reach the bottom. So sometimes it's easier to cut just like this. And remember, look how I hold the cucumber. My thumb is here. Lead finger, my index finger is here. Ring finger is here. And my lead is here, leading the knife. Okay? You can do it this way. So you see your knuckle from your middle finger is leading. Your knife is always against this. Okay, so it's very, very important that you, when you I sometimes, most of the time, I prefer to lean my knife against the entire middle finger because it gives me the security that I don't cut myself in the knuckle. But this, I have been such accustomed to this, it's just second nature for me. Okay, these are. What else we have? Okay, let's go into the paring. You see, this is the paring knife, and I have a radish here, red radish. And I just wanted to show you a few.
You got to lower your hands.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Okay. These are great for salads, but they're also nice for decorations. And just wanted to show you this. Usually these are cut in slices, but I showed you how to do slices, so I don't want to do this again. I'll cut this off. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to decorate it, use it as a decoration. So
Come a little lower if you can. You're getting too high.
thank you. So you see that? Cut it here. Here. Obviously, this takes a little practice to do that. You don't want to cut all the way through, just below the skin. Okay, and then you would put it in ice water. And then it's going to open up just like a flower. Okay, good. So those are little things you can do with a paring knife. For instance, you could do, if we wanted to pare this turnip, you see it in restaurants very often, that you get pared vegetables. These are vegetables shaped into nicely. Okay. And don't worry, all these scraps we're going to use in our vegetable soup. So nothing is going to be thrown out. It almost looks like a candy, right? That means we are paring our potatoes, turnips, whatever we like to do. That's where these knives come in. Okay. So let me see. I don't think I have basil here, but right there. Just want to show you how to cut the chiffonade. So basil, we basically roll it up just like this. And then we cut the chiffonade. Same way, I'm pulling my finger away slowly. This is how you do a chiffonade. Okay? You do it slowly, very slowly, until you get a hang of it. Okay? You see how my flower is slowly opening up?
Yep, that's so cool.
We can also do a little decoration, what we often do on buffets, very simple, really simple. Um, First of all, I cut off the bottom a little bit so that the lemon can stand like this, and then I think I'm better using a small knife.
Come a little lower.
Thank you. Cut in just a little bit. You see that? Okay, this is our first cut. This is more like an advanced cut, but okay, see? Second one. Takes patience. Okay, this came off. Now we put this in, back in here,
Wow.
and this on top of here. Okay, that's a little decoration what we do on buffets. Very simple.
So cute.
Mhm. Okay. I want to show you a little. You may know this. It's a very old decoration. It's old as iron, if not older.
Too high.
First of all, have you ever wondered how to remove this, the green spot in your tomato? Because it's always in the way. We very often when we cut tomatoes, we cut off the whole slice here in order to get rid of this here, but it's not necessary. So what you do is you hold your hand very carefully.
You're too high, chef.
Sorry. You hold your knife here. Be careful that you don't cut yourself. This is something you have to be. You hold your knife like this, okay? Don't put your knife, your hands around the blade, just like this. And then you see that? No, none of the fingers are around the blade. Then you pierce your tomato in, and you turn the tomato and move with your knife a little bit around. You turn it, and you see? You see that? This is what you remove. Look at that, all gone. Now you can use the entire tomato, and you have saved the slice, which very often we throw away. Okay, in order to make a roast, I'm gonna use my paring knife again, and I'm gonna slice.
Low.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything when you're cutting. I don't want you to cut yourself.
So I'm gonna slice just below the skin. Okay, just below the skin. It's almost too deep in, but it's okay. As best as you can do it, you cut around the tomato. Oops. And it's okay if I'm cutting too thick, but that's fine. You can go thick, you can go wide, and it's okay uh, if it's not even, because this will add actually to our presentation. So this is the only cut you should be doing inconsistently. It's going to look even better, and it has to be one piece. Very important. One piece. Okay. Now we're coming to the end. Okay. Now we take the end right here. This is going to be our base. And now Okay, so you're going to roll it around like this, and this is how it rolls. Took a while. I haven't done it in a few years, so this is how it rolls. Okay. Okay. So it's just a little, when you do a buffet, you can make a few decorations, and it always wows your customers. Okay, good. Um, let's see. Any other questions? Okay, let me switch my camera. Okay. Good. Are they? I think I covered everything about safety. Let's see. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions, or if you want me to cut anything. If you want me to um, cut anything, as a demonstration, let me know. Yeah, it takes a lot of practice. Yeah, but you can get there. Most important is you want to use your skills for batch cooking. So that's so important. You want to make sure that the faster you can cut your vegetables, the faster you cook, and it's so important. But safety is much more important. So I want you to be aware of it. Um, Start slowly and just go easy on yourself. Believe me, I have cut myself many times, and you don't want to go into this. Yeah, broccoli. How would you like broccoli? I have broccoli. Okay. Let me move these things here a little bit. Okay. So how do you want me to cut the broccoli? Usually, if you want it for, did you know you can use the entire trunk to cook with? The last inch, maybe 1.5 inch, you want to discard because it's too woody. But the entire part of the broccoli has the same nutrients, so it's very important to use that as well. What I usually do is I cut the broccoli like this in half, okay, and then that's how I usually keep it this way. If you want to serve it as a vegetable on your plate, maybe you can cut a little bit like this, keep it a little shorter. I mean, in a very fine end restaurant, you cut it obviously smaller. And what we usually do is, let me show you. So this is how we usually at home you can cut it like this. You can grill it, you can bake it, steam it, cook it this way. But what you can do is, if you want to make it really fancy, remember, or use these parts here as well. We steam these, okay, just so that they are al dente. And then we serve it on a plate, for instance, like this, in a saucer. Put it like this. Okay, I really need to do a little bit more. And we want to close it so it becomes, so it almost looks like a broccoli again, right? And that's how we serve it. And it's cooked, so it's beautiful, and you can add your seasonings. I mean, you season it first, but you could add a little bit of broth on top of it. You can dry saute onions and garlic and just pour it over it. Yeah, that's how I do my broccoli. Okay.
Connie asked how to core a cabbage.
Okay. I don't think I have a cabbage here, but no, I haven't. I just used it. I can show you. You know what? I can show it to you on a pepper. Just imagine this is a cabbage, okay? Which is not. What you do is, with your cabbage, you put it on the table, make sure it's stable, and then you go with your knife on the top and go around the center. You have to be very careful, and you cut around, okay? Just like this. This is how you core a cabbage. See? That's how you take it out. Easier part is if you cut the cabbage in half and then take out the core this way. You can cut it actually in quarters and then take out the core this way. And it's much easier. Okay.
Ready for the next one?
Yes.
So Joan is saying that when she dices onions the way that you taught us, the outside edges of the onion slips away from her fingers. What should she do?
Okay, that's when you start to chop the end. You still have, the end should have the root, right? So you don't use the root anyway. But if you have a little leftover, just put it flat on the board and start proceeding the same way. Cut it and then put them all in the center and just keep chopping. Let me, that's actually one thing I should show you one more time. Okay, so for instance, show you, the knife is always clean. Okay. See the root is here. Gonna be. I'm just gonna give you a random cut. So basically, I'm gonna show you how to, if your dices are not even, I'm gonna show you how to make them smaller. Okay. You see how I pull away? I always have this cutting motion. That's very important. Okay, now my hand cannot hold the onion either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it flat and cut the same way. Proceed. Cut the edges here, this here. And now we have a few pieces here which are bigger, like this here. So what I do is just put it like this. You can, I hold my finger here just so that it doesn't go anywhere it shouldn't go. But you can also do it this way. Hold your hand on top of here. This is how we usually cut parsley. When we chop parsley, you hold your hand on top of the top of your knife, and you cut like this, okay? So that one hand is on top of the knife, so it's not in the way. Very important. If you do this, you get a very, very small cut too. Okay. See this? Here you can see. Okay. So don't worry about it if you don't cut it evenly. This is how you can cut it. You can finalize your cut. Okay. Make sure that when you cut your vegetables for your meal, you want them all. I don't want to say similar sizes, but yes, you do want them similar sizes, but not of the same vegetable. So let's say we're going to cook eggplant. You can cook your onions. You can cut them smaller if you put them afterwards in. If you cook them first, you can cut them a little bigger. Just think about it, the cooking temperature or the cooking, how long a vegetable cooks. The thicker you want to cut it or the thinner you want to cut it. With onions, it doesn't really matter because I want the onions to disintegrate. I want the onions to caramelize and give the dish a flavor, and I don't want them big. So I always cut my onions relatively small so that they disappear, but they give flavor to the dish. So when I add eggplant to it, for instance, I want the eggplant all the same size. If you cut them a little bigger, a little smaller, then some of your eggplant are going to be cooked and some of them will be raw or not properly cooked by the time your dish is ready. So though from this point of view, you want to make sure that you cut all your vegetables the same size of each vegetable. Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, good. So did you enjoy this cutting session? Do you want me to show anything else? Would I be happy to demonstrate anything else if you like? Okay, good.
Is there a reason that you start the recipes with onion and garlic? Like, what is the reason?
Okay, the reason is because remember, I very often caramelize my onions. This gives the flavor to the dish. Onions, how can the best way to explain it? When I used to watch my grandma cooking, the food always tastes beautiful, and it was always sweet, not because she put sugar in, but she sauteed the onions first, and it's a fundamental thing. It's in French cuisine the same. Onions are always be the first, and that's how I learned it. That's how I kept it, and I think onions give your dish a good flavor. That's why we cook them first. If you would cook the onions later, you actually miss out on the flavor, on the sweetening of your dish.
Kimberly's asking about potato, and I mentioned that you did the turnip, but I asked if she wanted to see more. I'm just waiting for her to answer.
Okay. Well, this is actually a jicama, so you can
It's a turnip.
it's very similar to a potato.
Mm-hmm.
You can let me know what you want me to cut.
How do you cut the leeks?
Okay. I don't have leek in the house. I just use my leek. So what you do is with leek, for instance, if this would be your leek, you cut off the top of the leek, the
Green.
the really green part, cut it off. Then you use a knife on your board. Okay, I'm just going to show you this way. You cut it. How can I say? You cut it all the way through. Halfway, you cut a cross in it, right? So that your leek is in 4/4. But you don't cut the root. You keep the root on. Okay, you understand? And so when you take your leek, which you have now cut you have cut a cross in it, so to speak. You open it up like a flower, so to speak, and you go under the water and you clean every leaf individually under running water. Okay, so if you do that, you open it up and clean it, because leek is very, very dirty. Once you have cleaned the entire leek, you put it back on a board and you proceed to cut it like the cucumber in the size you would like to have it. That's the way you cut leek. Very, very simple. You just have to make sure that the leek is clean. Leek is always very, very dirty.
I must be eating a lot of dirt.
Well, it depends. If you got leek from a greenhouse, then you may not have dirt in there. But if you get it from a farmer's market, I'm almost certain that you have dirt in there.
Okay,
But
so I might be okay. It's all right. A little dirt never hurt.
no. But you see, the thing is, if you get sand in there,
No, that I would notice that. I feel
Not
like
that
the way
nice.
I cut it, I would notice that.
Yeah,
That's good.
good. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, let me know if you want anything else. I'll be happy to do that while you have me here. Otherwise, I would say thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Usually that is only for members, but I decided to do it for everyone. And anyone who is interested to join our membership, do so, because I haven't changed the pricing yet. You can still take advantage of it, but it will change. And everyone who's taking advantage of the lifetime member is going to be in for life. And I will change my membership. You only lifetime members will remain in the membership. I'm thinking of getting away from the monthly membership and only do coaching. That's probably going to start in a month or 2 months. And so if you're interested to join, do that soon. Thank you so much, and have a good night. Be safe and think plant-based. Remember, if you like that, if you're on YouTube, if you like this live stream, give it a thumbs up. This helps me grow my channel. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and have a good night.
Night.
Good night.